Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Carrie Toma Lorem, the International Programs Manager with International Student and Scholar Services. And we are super excited to partner with Thuy from our Career Center. Right now, we have three amazing panelists joining us tonight to share about their experience. They're all international alumni who attended San Jose State University. So they have a lot of great things to share with you about their journey. So I'm really excited to hear from them. So tonight, really what we hope you'll get out of this panel discussion is we really wanted to connect you with our SJSU alumni and hopefully connect you with your peers that are on this call. And we hope that you'll take some time to reflect on your career goals and potential pathways, and identify strategies for your own personal career success. So sometimes listening to others' stories and journeys, you learn different ways that they got to where they're at, and maybe you can pick up some tips from our panelists.
Thank you, Carrie. So great to hear from where you are, what you're studying, and what you're interested in learning. So we'll keep that in mind as we're going through a lot of good contents today. First, I don't want you to wait any longer, and let's meet our panelists here. And I think the best introduction would come from themselves. And so I would love for our panelists to start introducing your name, what you study at SJSU, and if you have another degree, you can talk about that as well. Name of your current employer, if you're that you're working with, your current job title, and just a very brief description of what you do. And we can go into more detail about the actual day-to-day job and all that later. But yeah, here's the stage for you, and I would love to hear from Manojna. Yeah, you're calling from, where you're calling from too. I think that's exciting.
Okay, so my name is Manojna Kalapala, as you can see on the screen. I graduated from San Jose State in the year 2016. I did my master's in general engineering with an emphasis in bioinformatics. I think the other emphasis were green technology, electronic devices. I'm not too sure at the moment. But right now, I work as a lead business solution architect for Deloitte US, and I work out of the Bangalore office in India. So what I do is, to just put it simply, I act as a bridge between business needs and technical solutions. So I design and implement IT systems. I look at our stakeholders' pain points and design directed solutions for them, which will improve operations and drive revenue.
Awesome.
Sorry, another question on that list on the previous slide that I didn't cover.
I think that was it. You covered everything. Thank you, Manos.
All
Yeah,
right.
awesome. And then we have the next panelist, Shanivi.
Yes, thank you, Thi. So my name is Shanivi Gupta, and I studied Masters in Human Factors and Ergonomics from San Jose State University. I joined in 2021, graduated in 2023. I am currently working as a UX designer at an early stage startup called Codified. What I'm doing at this startup is interesting because it's such an early stage company. The thing is that I have to take on many roles. So basically, I'm a UX designer. I'm also a UX researcher at the startup, and sometimes I also have to take up product manager duties. So, and that's the nature with early stage startups that, you have to do a lot of things. Sometimes I'm also making marketing materials. So I'm like doing everything for the company that's creative. And yeah, so that's me. I'm very excited to meet you all.
Thank you, Shanivi. That's great. It's exciting that you study a major and then coming into something that you could get to use. Probably you learn all the skills sometimes before that as well. So great. Okay, we have Utsav. Love to hear from you.
Yes, hi. I'm Utsav Jain. I graduated from San Jose State in 2019 from the Masters in Software Engineering department, not the Computer Engineering department. there is a bit of a rivalry there. So, and I'm currently employed as a senior software engineer at Corning Wireless. My company was recently acquired by Airspan Networks, so I soon will be a staff engineer at Airspan Networks. Our company is in the telecommunication space. We make highly specialized networking, cellular networking equipment, like 4G and 5G ultra wideband products. I am currently working in the NMS team, which is the Networks Management System. So this is the software which manages and controls all the devices that are deployed in the field.
Awesome, thank you, Utsav. And as we're talking about all of the details, feel free, if you're looking at the slide, take a photos or details about what the panelists say. We're gonna click through them one more time, Carrie. So if you wanted to remember what major our panelist was or what company and what role they're in, this would be a helpful key point for you to look back to as we go through the next couple of questions. So take your time, take a photos here or screenshot. Awesome. Are here today. I would love for you to, can you still hear us? Hello? Yes, okay. I just saw the connection dropped for a second. So how did you get from your study at SSU to where you are now? And I would let that stage open for you. You can go into details of what kind of internship, volunteer, anything that you've done, exciting projects, any moments that was key to your career development to this point. And we don't have to go in order as well. So anyone want to jump in first? Please go ahead.
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. So when I decided to do my master's in the United States, I didn't even know anything about San Jose State or where it was located. I actually first got admitted to another university in the East Coast. And a semester later, due to various personal reasons, I decided to transfer to San Jose State. So I did get into the US in 2013, but San Jose State was where I started my grad program in 2014 and then graduated in 2016. And in hindsight, although at that time it was a very expensive move for me, in hindsight, it was the best choice I've made. Because at San Jose State, I got to meet a lot of people who were in the same boat as I was. And just to put things in perspective, Utsav brought up software engineering and computer engineering. Now, just to put a number to it, during the years that I studied there, software engineering had about 200 people in a class, whereas bioinformatics had just about 4 people. Which is why I'm putting an emphasis on meeting like-minded people there. It was a very small group. And within that group, it was very hard for us to find on-campus jobs within labs. But the most defining moment for me was during my second year at San Jose State. I managed to get a research assistantship from one of my professors, Dr. Brooke Lustig. So very grateful to him to this day, because that had really changed things for me. It was my first on-campus job, first job in the US, and it taught me a lot of things. It taught me how to network, which is saying something because I am an introvert. I would shy away from any conversations, and that research assistantship was like a switch which turned on a lot of things in my career graph. So that's where my learning started. And it also helped me look for a lot of internships. But the sad part is that most of them were unpaid, and I had to travel about like 2 hours one way to get to these internships. And I was just paying out of my pocket. It's not a really positive success story at that stage. But in hindsight, all of those unpaid internships really helped me to get where I am today. So throughout 2016 to 2018, there was a lot of struggle because I wasn't able to find an employer who was willing to sponsor me because I graduated from a STEM degree, which means that I had 12 months of OPT and then STEM extension of 24 months, which means I would get 3 attempts at filing for my employment visa, which is H1. And everything looked so bleak until I decided to take up an interview with a staffing agency. And then I just let go of this dream of working in a bioinformatics company till that point. So after I got into a staffing agency, I worked for a vineyard management company. I worked for a bank, and then there was the pandemic, during which I decided to move to India. And then there was a long break. There were career gaps on and off. But after moving to India is where I got my first bioinformatics gig. I wasn't doing any research, but I was doing more of business analysis and project management. I worked with companies that I was just dreaming about, like Merck and whatever, which is a spin-off from DuPont. And then it got me to where I am right now, Deloitte. And it's not related to what I studied in San Jose State, subject-wise, because now Deloitte is, as you know, an accounting firm. It's the biggest of the big four, I think, from the past couple of years. And even today, I work with banks, not with any bioinformatics or biotechnology groups. So it's been quite a journey, and it's been very diverse. But I still do take away a lot of things I learned from San Jose State. Then the first one of which is it really taught me how to network.
Thank you so much. Wow, I have so many follow-up questions, but I feel like that would be a whole book that you need to write about. But yeah, that's so interesting that that one experience to start with, right? Your research experience, and then it
Yes.
leads to the next one and the next one, and then
Right.
you refining your interest and finding new career paths as well as you go through different stages. Wow.
Yes, so I actually, when I was first deciding what college to choose, SJSU was always on my top list. And I think that is because of the location that SJSU is in. It's right in the Bay Area, and it has access to all these colleges or companies. And there was this interesting thing I experienced in GHC when I went. It's Grace Hopper Conference. It's the biggest conference for women. But whenever I went to meet like any recruiter, they would tell me that SJSU is a great university just because they all had campuses in San Jose. So it was like an interesting stamp of approval that companies do respect students from SJSU. But apart from that, I think what SJSU has helped me with is providing me with a lot of opportunities. For example, like I got an internship in the summer, and this was 2022 when the market was still not as bad. So I got that summer internship, which later converted to a co-op. But one of the biggest highlights of my experience in SJSU has been the fact that one time my professor posted about a job and that he was working for a client company, and he was looking for interns, and I applied for it. And I feel like these experiences are very special because only when your professors have those kind of network, or only when they have those kind of clients, you get those opportunities, which I kind of heard from other people in other colleges that they did not have access to just because there were no companies in the colleges or areas where they were studying, or their professors were not also working alongside teaching. So I feel like that went on for a year, and before even graduating, if you get that kind of experience, I feel so I'm always grateful to SJSU and my professor for that experience. But after I graduated, just like Manojna, I also had like a lot of struggle because The market has been really bad, especially in 2023 and 2024. So 2024, I was looking for a job, and the whole year I was looking for a job, and only until the end of the year is when in December I could get a job because I graduated December 2023, and then I got a job in 2024 December. So it took me a whole year to, look for a job, and honestly, it's just how the market is right now. So it's nothing, to be too worried about, but I used a lot of strategies in my journey, but I think I'm gonna talk about that later. So yeah, did a lot of internships, a lot of co-ops, and got where I am today.
So I was referred to a job by someone I knew, and that's how I got my first internship. Um, and then I was able to get internship renewed one semester after another, and then finally, when I graduated, I was able to convert that into a full-time position. Since I've been working with this company for 6 years now, and I try to stay ahead of what our needs are going to be. So that's how I've been able, even though I'm with the same company for the last 6 years, I've switched teams 2 years or so. I first joined as a software build engineer, and then I moved to the virtualization effort, which is to like convert your hardware into software, and then you can sell software and get software margins from your product. And then I moved into the cloud adoption team. Cloud was a big buzzword, it still is, and which in that my job was to move our things which run in-house into the AWS cloud. And then now I'm finally in the NMS team, as I mentioned earlier, which is the team responsible for maintaining the software to manage our products. So that has been my career journey so far.
Thank you, Utsav. So one of the questions that I actually got a lot from students is how exactly do you go about becoming an outstanding candidate, right? We're talking about strategies for everything from your resume to your how do you look for internships, how do you network, and how do you even find that post from your professor. We talk about a summer internship, like what are the steps you need to do before that? So a lot of those you can take as much time as you want, and since if you're having notes pads and everything, take note of this, other strategies that you've done for yourself and that has worked for you.
I can go ahead.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did was to network on LinkedIn, mostly on LinkedIn, because, like I said, I was an introvert. I wasn't meeting too many people. I mean, in hindsight, I should have, but that was quite a late realization for me. Um, I was too scared to talk to new people and all of that, but doing it virtually was much easier. So I resorted to LinkedIn. I added every company's HR person's profile, I could say. I would just add them. And I would just send them a message introducing myself, saying that my name is so and so, and I'm currently a student. And I would just love to stay connected. That is all I said. And because I wasn't actively looking for a full-time job at that point, I was still studying. I just wanted to stay connected with as many people as possible. And the one thing I would tell anyone looking for advice on networking on LinkedIn is, because I keep getting messages saying hi, hey, and that's all. There is nothing else. It is hard to respond to messages like that because most people, they just send you a hi or a hey and wait for you to respond. Which till date, I just don't get the point of it. Even during my daily job, I get messages on Microsoft Teams saying just that, hi, hey. What? It's hard to respond to those. So just make a very brief introduction of yourself, what you want to say, and just be very specific is what I would say if you're connecting with someone virtually. Another thing that I did not do, but should have and would suggest everyone do is don't just stick to your classes, take part in extracurriculars, because that's where I find that you meet a lot of people from different backgrounds, and you never know where help is going to come from. And just be ready with your elevator pitch to strike up a conversation with a stranger. I know when I started to do that, I actually wrote down what my introduction is going to be. I practiced it in front of a mirror, and then I got the confidence to talk to more people. So just keep doing that. And so, like I said, my background was in biotech, bioinformatics, but my job is so far removed from what I studied. And that is also a realization that came to me after 2 years, 2 odd years of finding jobs and not finding success. I took a pause and I just wanted to know what my reality was, what my strengths were. Was research something I really wanted to do long term? And then I just decided to go into business analysis and project management. And then I realized that that's something I like doing. And sometimes you also have to look for signs, because I had like two of my close friends, one in Houston and one in Florida. Both of them actually suggested the same job from the same staffing agency. I don't know how that happened, but I just took that up, and that helped me secure my first job. So uh, I believe that when someone close to you is asking you to do something and change up your strategies, it's better to listen to them, because no matter how much you introspect, sometimes an outsider's perspective would really help you out, is what I truly believe in. And then just pause sometimes, listen to yourself, take a break, have a routine. I think that really helped me, because there would be days where I would just keep on applying to jobs, keep studying for like 8, 10 hours, and then it would just get to me. So I would just go out, take a walk, hit the gym, meet friends. Um, I think that would just help keep my sanity. It helped me keep my sanity, and I would suggest that to everyone. But my number one takeaway from this entire experience is network aggressively. Um, as students, nobody is expecting anything other than that from you. So just network, meet a lot of people, tell them what you're doing, and just say that you'd love to stay connected. That's all. That's about it.
That's so key, Manojna. I was like trying to take notes as well because I'm this is what like we as career counselor we have a theories around like career happenstance when things happen to you and something happens to you for a reason, right? It's a belief
Right.
that yeah, only when you respond to that it will come to the next
Absolutely.
door open. So you could have never applied to those two jobs that your friends recommended, and yeah. So, wow, so interesting. So look for signs, pause, listening to yourself, network excessively, everyone. And if you wanted to know how to craft that message for yourself, come to us, Career Center. We can always work with you to create, we call it like a elevator pitch, pretty short. You can use it in a writing message, or if you happen to go to an event in person or network event virtually, you can always use that as well. So a little commercial plug for Career Center if you need that help. Um, but yeah, let's talk about other strategies if we can share more about them. Utsav?
So I would like to bring up that thankfully we are now having a lot of in-person events and we can go out and meet people in person now. Um, so I was just watching a short from Morning Brew the other day, and they mentioned that more and more people who are now getting jobs have gotten them because they were referred to it by someone they know. Um, So I believe is that you don't need to know a person in depth to be able to get referred by them. You could just have met them in some conference or some activity you're doing. To that, I want to make 3 points particularly. Number one is, as students, you can always reach out to a lot of conferences that are happening in the area, and ask and send them an email that, hey, I'm a student, I'm interested in this technology, can I volunteer at your conference? And usually what they do is they're very happy to take you on as volunteer. If it's a 5-day event, they ask you to volunteer for 3 days or 2 days, and then you get a pass or a limited pass for the rest of the days that you can go and see things and talk to people and kind of network. um, um, I know the biggest conference in the area, the NVIDIA conference, just happened last week. So, but there are still a lot of other conferences which are going on. Now, similarly, on my second point, which is other networking slash technology events which are happening in the area, which you can find at all these meetup websites and the Eventbrite or something, and then you can sign up and go there. I just happened to be at an industry event in Intuit, which was something like this. I got that from one of my networks on LinkedIn, and there was 3 or 4 talks, and there was beer and there was pizza. It was a software event, so that happens. But the interesting part was that before and after, in the Q&As of the sessions, people would ask that, hey, does anybody in the audience have any vacancies they're trying to fill? And whoever is, raise your hands and let's go out and talk. So I was surprised to see that a large number of hiring managers and people who wanted to hire use these conferences to come and just meet people who are looking for a job. So in that way, if you just meet them in person there, they're not going to interview you on spot, but you'll know who is out there. At that event, I bumped into this person who's a UX engineer, and we don't have any openings right now, but like 3 months from now, when I believe we would need a UX engineer in my team, that person would be at the top of my list to reach out to. And lastly, I would say you can also meet people while doing some activities that you enjoy or like. An example I would give is I used to volunteer a lot at Second Harvest of Silicon Valley. They're on the first street next to the Samsung office, the one which looks like a semiconductor node. There, a lot of these companies used to bring their employees for their social corporate responsibility obligations. So a lot of people from NVIDIA, Apple, Cisco, and all the big tech companies used to come there, and you would be making these boxes, assembling these boxes of food in it, which can be given to the needy. But the thing is that you're working next to them for 2.5 hours, so you can actually get to ask them questions that, hey, what do you do at NVIDIA? How is NVIDIA like? I'm interested in this technology. What do you think? And then you can move around, and at the same time, you're helping the community. I was talking to Carrie a little bit earlier about that. Hey, I was skiing in Tahoe, which is an activity which I really enjoy. And on the ski lift, I met so many very interesting people who are working in my industry. Randomly, I bumped into a guy who was a lead engineer on the product which I'm implementing in my company, and he gave me some wonderful insight. And yes, one of the tips when you meet these people is that at the end, do connect with them on LinkedIn, and make sure that you send them a message that, hi, it was very nice meeting you at this place or an event. Thank you for your insights, and it was a pleasure meeting you. So this way, you have a callback in the person's mind, and they remember you for a little bit longer than they would have otherwise. So that's what I had to share. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Utsav. Shanivi?
Yes. So actually, Manojna and Utsav had said some really amazing things. So, I mean, it's tough to, add more points, but I guess what I can talk about is LinkedIn. And I actually, so I'll tell you something. I used to believe that, LinkedIn is posting on any sort of social media or anywhere is super cringe. And anybody that would post, I would think, oh, they're doing this for attention. And I would never, in my wildest dreams, think that I would ever start posting on LinkedIn frequently. But what happened last year is that I had two phases in my job search. The first phase was when, I was sitting behind my laptop and I was applying daily. I had a discipline, so I did, probably apply 3 hours a day, and that was a given that I would do every day. But, I didn't see a lot of traction. So it was just frustrating because you're doing this, consistently, and you believe that, you're being disciplined, so you should be rewarded, and nothing is happening. So I started seeking out mentors. So I seeking out mentorship, and I, reached out to some people on mentorship websites on these platforms, and I asked them like, what is it that I can do better? Generally, I wouldn't get like crazy advice, but one particular mentor, he told me that there is this thing where when people apply to roles in his company, they look at their profiles, they look at their social media profiles and things like that. And LinkedIn is definitely, you also might know that whenever you're applying to a job, they're asking for your LinkedIn profile. So he said that they actively look at what you're doing on LinkedIn. And so he advised me that I should start posting on LinkedIn. And I think what that helps with is, so I took that advice and I started posting. The crazy thing is that the first post I made went super viral and like I got like crazy engagement. But what that helps with is that it helps build a certain trust within the community for you. So if you're posting on LinkedIn consistently in your field, I'm not saying like talk about random things, but definitely talk about like what you're working on, any project you worked on, any conference like Utsav mentioned you attended, anything. If you talk about those things, you appear on people's feeds, and you get into their minds all the time. So whenever, and I wouldn't say that it necessarily helps you land a job, but it helps you become more visible. So what that does is that every time you're posting, your post is reaching like a lot of people, and everybody's like looking at your profile. They're looking at you as a source of inspiration, and also someone that they can trust when it comes to knowledge in that field. So I feel like that has a lot of value, especially when if you ever happen to apply to a job and they look at your profile, they're going to think, wow, all these things. Secondly, if anybody ever comes across your profile and they see you've posted all of this, then they're going to probably think of you when the job open next. Just like Utsav mentioned, if he sees someone at a conference, he's going to refer that person. So I feel all of these things have been very helpful. And I don't know if it's timing, if it's luck, but I definitely started getting more interviews after I got more active on LinkedIn. I also wanted to say that being active on LinkedIn doesn't just mean posting. You can also not post and be active on LinkedIn. One of the things you can do is you can scroll your feed. You can follow people in your industry, maybe thought leaders. You can follow people, recruiters, like Manojna mentioned. You can, comment on their posts, because when you comment on them, it's like a one-to-one connection you're making. So you constantly keep commenting on different people's posts, and you make better connections, and they remember you in the future. And if you want to do nothing, but at least I would recommend to keep your LinkedIn profile updated. I did not update my LinkedIn profile until my master's. So I like didn't even know LinkedIn existed all of my undergrad. But because I remember many people here are undergrad students, I would recommend you guys start by at least updating your LinkedIn. So I feel that is something I wanted to mention here. One other thing I would like to mention is how important it is to practice for interviews. If even if you don't have an interview lined up, it's always important that you're prepared for an interview to come because you never know when it's going to come. So you can look at resources online, how to prepare for interviews, because when it comes, it's very overwhelming. You have like 1,000 things to do. At least you should be clear with the behavioral interviews, so you know what questions can be asked, and those are all online. There are resources when you can read that online. But yeah, so these are some of the strategies that I followed. I also set a time. I think that was super important that you have to, at least commit some time to your job search and say, in a day, I'm going to apply to these many roles. But yeah, I think everybody else made some great points about networking. So networking is super, super important. But yeah, that's what I have to add.